Hey guys, Nukem here, and welcome to Love and Death Episode 6, The Big Top. I think this is where the case, trials, and jury happens, and we get to see awesome court cases. I am a big fan of looking at court cases, like in Better Call Saul, or just really good performances when it comes to jury, evidence, protest, strategy different lawyers use. And what's also fascinating about this story is that I don't know what happens. I don't know the outcome. I had no clue of who Candy Montgomery was until I saw a trailer with Elizabeth Olsen saying, "Do you want to have an affair?" I was like, "No." Then I realized it's a real case about real people. And honestly, I think she did get convicted for murder, but OJ Simpson got away with it. So we'll see, because I don't know if she does or not, but most likely I think she does. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started.
Jury selection begins today.
All right, they have to interview the jurors. We'll see what happens now that her husband knows that she killed Betty. So we'll see. Oh, her friend's here.
How we doing?
Does she know?
I really do love the hair. Thank you.
Yeah, she did change her hairstyle
We're gonna be okay.
to match it more real life.
This is what Don Crowder wants me to wear.
Yeah, you look fine.
It seems like now that he knows
How are
what
you
really
doing,
happened, he seems fine.
I'm good.
Okay, it doesn't seem that fine. He seems like he's still on Candy's side, even though he knows that she killed Betty. In self-defense, most likely. Is that what the lawyer told him?
Why can't I go inside with her?
Yeah.
Only the parties and lawyers can get inside access.
Oh.
Be right behind you.
Oh, I know you will.
Man, he was really supportive with her throughout this trial.
Sharon, make sure that the kids don't watch the news. Of course.
Kids don't need to know what mom's being accused of, man. And the evidence.
Sleepy town.
Yeah.
The reason Judge Ryan moved to the new courthouse.
They even got
and
someone
more
trying to be
people.
on camera.
What do Texas prisons look like?
There are two women's prisons. There's one that you definitely do not want to go to.
Okay, don't go to that one.
The other
No.
one is not that bad.
It's okay? Okay. Alright, police. You gotta form a blockade, safe passage.
The idea is to wind up with 12 impartial jurors.
This has to be one of the hardest things to be really good at as a lawyer, is determine who's going to be impartial and might lean towards your side.
The ultimate fact issue to be proved to a jury is that a defendant killed the
All right, then. We're going to let Mr. Crowder make a remark or two. Mr. Crowder?
Alright, man. Don't mess up. Make these people
My
like
name
you.
is Don Crowder. There is something I've got to tell you now.
Oh no, don't
For me
you.
to be able to discuss the law. Candace Montgomery killed Betty Gore. She did so with an axe.
What?
And she did so in self-defense.
Yes, that's what I thought. Self-defense.
We haven't chosen to try our case in the papers, which is why you've never heard that before. You're going to hear it from the only living person who was there. Candy Montgomery will take the stand.
I like the tactic he went with. That's what I kept saying. Let's go self-defense.
Y'all better buckle up.
It would be good for the jury to hear from God, Pastor, even if it's on television.
I understand.
Wow. He knows how to work the pastor, which is good for Candy. I'm just so happy the defense is going with self-defense and not try to prove she didn't do it, because there's no way they could prove she didn't do it.
A lot of folks gonna be taking their cues from you.
Yeah.
Come on now.
You have to look like a strong husband to support the wife. Get yourself together, Pat.
Well, I'm coming down there for the trial.
I'm surprised the dad didn't come down sooner. Like, I think the family want to be like near and part of the trial, right? Listening what's happening through the case instead of being distant.
Sally Reynolds, she says she wants to go as you, but her parents won't let her.
What? Go as Candy Montgomery? With that little kid holding an axe?
Do you think it was wise for Don to just announce that you did it like that?
Yeah, she needs a criminal defense lawyer like Dawn said. Even Dawn's like, I'm not a criminal defense lawyer. You need someone good. I will take the weakest one because I know you.
You and I have a private word.
Is she wearing a wire? I would check if she's wearing a wire, man.
She tried to kill you. That's your story.
She did. Well, according to this version.
It would be good if
If
you
you
were
leave.
there for me
Oh.
at trial.
Oh, she's done. She's out.
That won't be happening, Candy.
She pieced out, man. She thinks she did it. Well, not in self-defense.
I just want to see her.
Sorry, ma'am.
I just want a quick peek at Candy Montgomery. Well, it looks like the dad showed up.
Council will recall that on the 12th day of July, this court issued an order restricting counsel from talking to the media. After jury selection yesterday, anything you'd like to say to me, Mr. Crowder?
Oh, that's strike 2, dude.
Your Honor, I thought that the order had been lifted.
This court finds you in contempt for violation of its order that was entered on the 11th day of July, 1980.
Ain't that the pot calling the kettle a grandstander?
Stop!
Plus 24 hours in the Collin County Jail.
Are you kidding me?
What?
Out of abundance of precaution.
Well, howdy doody, Judge.
What did you
Oh
say?
my god. This guy's a bad lawyer. Oh my god. Oh, you don't want to fight the judge. He's so inexperienced. But hey, interesting. Alan Gore. If he says that Betty has issues when she's pregnant or post-pregnant, you know, this would do very well for Candy.
I knew something wasn't right with her not answering.
And at some point you called your neighbor Richard Parker?
Yes, I made several calls and asked that he go look in the house.
And what, if anything, did he find?
They found Betty dead. I was told that she was shot.
Who told you she'd been shot dead?
Jerry McMahon.
After Jerry McMahon told you Betty'd been shot, did you make any further calls?
Candy.
Called Candace Montgomery.
After you told the defendant that your wife had been killed, what response, if any, did she make?
Oh god.
Seemed like a normal shock reaction.
The morning of, how did she seem, your wife?
She was a bit agitated. I was going away on a business trip.
Unsettled, agitated. Was she depressed?
Perhaps.
She'd battled depression before.
She had some postpartum. She thought she might be pregnant.
And this was causing her stress?
Yes.
In fact, you were a bit worried about Betty and her state of mind that day. So much so, you made repeated calls to check on her.
I did.
Tell Mrs. Montgomery that you were very concerned that your wife had committed.
But the thought had entered my mind, yes.
Oh my. These are good
She
questions.
could have very dark thoughts.
Yes.
Oh, that's great questioning. Cross-exam.
Can you think of any reason why Candy would want to harm your wife?
No.
That's good. That's good
Your
cross-exam.
relationship, to your knowledge, would she have any reason to know there was an axe in your garage?
No.
Your wife, of course, knew the axe was in your garage.
This is great.
Yes.
This is great cross-exam. They established like their relationship. He was honest. She got the mental state of Betty was very unstable. He was worried about her, and that there was no motive for Candy to kill Betty. So it seems like he did such a good cross-exam to work the jury to Candy's favor.
If you hadn't cheated.
Now the dad's very upset.
And the woman who did this, you showed no remorse. Why doesn't that bother you?
That's a good question. Why doesn't it bother you, Alan?
We weren't getting along too well.
Well, I think the dad has all the right to be upset, and then yes, he wants Alan to push Candy to be guilty, but you know, Alan was just telling her the truth.
Stop your nonsense.
Well, honest to God, Sherry, sometimes I wonder if you were in on it too.
Dang. Being friends with Candy, everyone would say bad things about you. It's guilty until proven innocent in this case.
We first saw the blood in the bathroom, and then we heard the baby, Bethany. She was in her crib, crying, covered in her feces. She'd been there a long time. There was blood everywhere.
A massive amount of blood and an axe on the floor. Mostly just blood.
Brown shirt, jeans, and blue sneakers.
Jeez, I can't imagine what's going through your head while you're sitting there listening to all this. And the emotional weight of the world is on your shoulder, listening to saying nothing. Don't talk to the media. Do not talk to media.
You're taking something. What is it?
Xerax.
That kind of carnage. Prosecution aims to depict you as inhuman, looking like a zombie plays right into their hands.
Sir, and they all want me to break down and act like one, don't they? They would all just be so thrilled if I jumped up and down and screamed. Be giving then. That satisfaction.
If you look shut down or robotic, you go to jail.
You can't show too much emotion, but you can't show too little emotion. You have to show enough emotion, but also neutral emotion.
The jury needs to see you as human,
Yes.
vulnerable.
What?
I didn't go the other way, you know?
Oh, like Betty killed her? Yeah. He's just happy that she's alive through that fight. Okay, that's why he's supporting her. That makes sense.
It's okay to be a little bit broken, Candy.
No, it's not. I might never get back. I'd never be unbroken.
Yeah.
The Lord is not just my shepherd, but he is also Candy Montgomery's. It comes down to goodness and mercy in the heart.
All right, good job, Pastor. Keep making Candy look good.
Damn, that's a good pastor.
All right, I want to see this tougher case that the prosecutor is going to present to the jury.
There was blood all over.
A lot of blood.
There were fingerprints left by the killer.
And the body.
Candy Montgomery planned to murder Betty. And if somebody was intent on killing, would using an axe death instruments to accomplish that task?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right.
Killing done in broad daylight with Candy's car parked right out front. With it, she did a terrible job. Fair to say?
Fair to say.
Yeah.
Fair to say.
Fair to say. That's true. Why? She probably had a blind rage. That's why she just kept swinging after Betty died.
There's a reason they're saving the pathologist for last. He's gonna paint a grisly picture, shock the shit out of the jury. No coincidence they're putting him up right after lunch. All it takes is one juror to vomit and it's life in prison.
Yep, that's right. Jury knows, prosecutor knows what they're doing.
40 whacks, like you say, they're gonna say self-defense is preposterous.
The prosecutor.
What?
Excuse me?
He seems like a nice man.
You take Sarex again?
Yeah, she did, didn't she?
Try and get this.
Oh my God.
The prosecution is probably going to rest today, which means you could be taking the stage as soon as tomorrow.
Okay, this is a pathologist now?
I'd like you to go through. Chop-like wounds on the left upper arm extending into the musculature.
Ooh.
From the top of the right side of what was her face, irregular gaping, multiple fractures.
Oh.
The right eye had collapsed into it. Would have been the sinuses.
She's on medication again, isn't she, during the pathologist?
So for all those other wounds you just described, Betty Gore was alive.
Yes, sir.
What?
For almost all of those 40 swings, Betty Gore was alive.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
Fair to say she suffered.
The killer would have had to wiggle it back and forth like a wood chopper on top of a split log to then continue swinging.
Oh.
How do you know she resumed swinging again?
Because there was another blow that went even deeper.
Oh my gosh. This is so much worse. This is why they didn't show us what it looked like.
Mr. Crowder.
Oh my gosh. This is
Defense
so
counsel,
much worse.
The likelihood that for much of this, she was unconscious.
Could be true.
Yeah.
Are you able to make a determination as to who attacked who first?
No.
Which means you can't rule it out.
No.
That's what needs to do. Provide a shadow of doubt. You can't convict anyone unless you're 100% certainly. So if you can prove it with a shadow of doubt, you still win the case. So he's bringing doubt into it. But sometimes the evidence is so overwhelming. Candy's not ready. Oh yeah, Candy's not ready. Someone else. You gotta get someone else. Candy's not ready.
Approach, Your Honor.
Get someone else. Get someone else. Or tell the truth to the judge. Maybe the judge might be lenient.
I'll give you 10 minutes.
That's it? This is why you want the judge to like you. He's more lenient to you. If you pissed him off, you got no leniency. Oh God, Candy, you screwed yourself. Oh, she's back. Oh, that's the end of the episode. Oh gosh. Yeah, that was a lot different of an episode than I expected to be. But it wasn't a bad one. Wow. It seems there's a lot of sabotage on the defense side. One, the lawyer is not a criminal lawyer, so he is getting himself into trouble and the worst situation with the judge by talking to media and in combative with the judge. Now the judge don't grant leniency when he needs some leniency. Candy is going through so much trauma, she has to take medication, so she doesn't feel all that way. Emotion, it's a heavy toll if you never got a chance to process it, and will cause you such psychological harm that it would probably take your whole lifetime to recover. And like she says, I might not come back the same person if I let myself go. And that's something that's a huge possibility. You're just not the same. No matter how much psychological and counseling you can get, it can get better, but you're just always going to be harmed. And she's protecting herself that way and by taking medication, but that ruins any chance of her to really put up a strong defense. If you're like not there being questioned for both, especially the prosecutor, and you show no emotion to the jury where you don't look human at all. If you just see someone, you hear this horrific story of someone getting butchered, slaughtered by that person sitting over there, and they seem like they don't even care about any of this, of all this horrific acts, that person looks like they're guilty. Well, that's the case that we're in right now, and that's a tough thing in life. So we'll see. I still don't know the outcome of the case, but I think like the defense attorney has been doing a good job cross-examining. He's providing doubt that no one knows if, who attacked who first. And that puts in doubt. He established with Allan that Candy had no motive to go to Betty that day. And that he also put doubt, okay, this was not planned. It's not premeditated murder, right? Because they said that's the worst way to get someone killed and get away with it, right? Because she parked her car in front and using the tool that was used. So if you get that shadowed out, thing is, I don't know how important psychological counselors, therapists, those type of physicians were big in the 80s. That's more relevant to today's standards. In 2000s, people started taking psychological issues more seriously. Instead, people use the word like retard and idiot and stuff. We don't use those words anymore. We when we address with someone that has a disability, we say they struggle with mental illness. We don't say, oh, they're mentally ill. We say they struggle. They struggle with this. They struggle with that. So a better time. And instead of calling them patients, we now refer them to as clients. This is what I learned when I got a psych degree back in the mid 2000s, of how appropriately talk to people. That's more in today's standards. So back then, 1980s, it may not be that thing that you could use or something that comes across your mind. Hey, psychologically, she was not there. She was attacked. She was fearful. She just kept swinging away because she lost emotional control. She had no longer rational thought, and she was just afraid for her life that she just kept swinging to make sure whoever attacked her was dead. And you don't really realize the other state of the other person. That's an actual thing that you can say today. I don't know that's relevant back then or it even brought up. Also, I think the hypnotist that he used, he should bring in there and tell him how Candy had childhood trauma since she was 4, and that could have transferred to today or to that time that she lost sense of control of what the trauma she experienced as a kid. I don't know. I'm so tempted to find out what really happens in Google and Wikipedia, but I'm just going to keep holding off and just keep watching based on this and then do the research after to see what major changes they made for the show and then what actually happened in real life. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate the subscribe, the like, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.